Good morning. Morning, Dora, and morning, Susan. Wednesday, here we are, middle of the week. I hope everyone's having a good week. It's chilly here today. I thought about wearing a long sleeve shirt, but I decided against it. But it's in the 60s, which is crazy. Good morning, Deb. I was telling my husband today that this is all very well and good, but it's going to seem like such a shock then when all of a sudden we get back to the summer weather. Who knows? I mean, anything could happen at this point. maybe this is what summer's going to be like. I don't know. So we'll give it a couple minutes. We'll just sit and breathe. I was thinking yesterday, I know my son got some food delivered, and the guy delivering the food said he didn't want to leave the food on the porch, that we should have a table or something to set the food on, because a lot of these places do this sort of contactless delivery where you've paid everything in advance and they just leave it and go. But he said he really didn't like leaving food on the ground, as he called it, which I can see. There's ants and bugs and things, and maybe that's not, people don't like that. I'm not that picky, but and it occurred to me that I don't have any furniture at all on the porch, and the porch has been done for since fall, I guess, last year. Yeah, I think so. So yeah, and it's funny how important it seemed so important 2 years ago to have some furniture on the porch, but now it's just a big old empty porch. And so I think I need to get some porch furniture. And I don't know why it never occurred to me that we might want to actually use the porch that I spent, 6 months working on. But there you go. It's not done. Maybe that's why it's not quite done. The posts and things aren't done. I mean, the floor is done and everything, but yeah. So I think I need to get on that. But I'm probably too late because everyone's probably bought all the porch furniture by now. It's like trying to find, winter coats in winter. They're all gone by then. So now that we're in summer, chances are everything you need for summer has already disappeared from the stores. But we'll find out. All right, well, let's get started. So we're talking this week about the 8 limbs of yoga. So Ashtanga, which is a term you may have heard for yoga. And usually when we talk about Ashtanga yoga, we're referring to a style of vinyasa, which is that sort of more active. So, oh gosh, all right, now we're getting, I got to throw some terms out here. So most of the yoga, so the first yoga that kind of came here in like the 60s and 70s, what they call hatha yoga, which is stationary poses. And you just go from one pose to the next pose, which is not unlike some of what we do. Then that kind of evolved into what they call vinyasa yoga, where you add in the sun salutation. And there's a form of movement and flow between the poses. And you'll see that's a very popular style. Most of the sort of yoga studios around here, I would say, are doing some form of vinyasa. Ashtanga is its own sort of thing. It's like hatha. It has stationary poses, and although there is movement in between them, although I would say when you first start, you aren't necessarily doing that because there's a lot of sun salutations. I forget, I counted, I think in what they call the primary series of Ashtanga, there's something like 102 sun salutations. It's an hour and a half process. It's a very athletic and very demanding practice. And people who practice it, I was going to say religiously, but that's maybe not the right word to use. Consistently, people that consider themselves Ashtanga yoga practitioners would practice 1.5 to 2 hours a day, usually between 5 in the morning and 7 in the morning, and then 6 days a week. Right? They get 1 day off. So that's a traditional way to do it. There's lots of other ways to do it. But when you first get started, it is, I think, more like hatha, where you're being in one pose and then you're in another pose. You aren't doing all of those sun salutations, because obviously that would be a lot when you first get started. It would probably be impossible to do all that. So for our purposes, Ashtanga is also, it is this idea of 8 limbs, and Ashtanga literally means 8-limb yoga. So these 8 parts that go together. And we're on the 5th one, which is Pratyahara. And Pratyahara is, we don't talk as much about it as some of the other things, because it kind of, it's kind of a transition. So if we can look at the parts, we've talked about the yamas, the niyamas, the asana, and pranayama. So these are all kind of outward things. And we've got, pranayama is kind of borderline too. But anyway, so yamas, these are all sort of things about our outer part and how we are interacting with our physical body, with the world. And pranayama is too, because breath is a physical, and it's a physical part. With pratyahara, we start moving more inward, and the other the limbs that come after are much more inwardly focused. So pratyahara is that transition from outer to inner. And what pratyahara means is we are controlling our reaction to outward stimulus. So we are reducing the effect that outer events and things going on, how the level of effect they have on us. So if you have someone who is easily agitated by sounds and people talking, or they're easily distracted, that's a person that really needs to practice pratyahara. They don't have that internal concentration. They don't have that ability to focus. Everything around them takes them out of themselves. And we speak about this a lot, that this ability to not be distressed or distracted by the things going on around you is something we want to develop. We're trying to build that strength of purpose and focus within the body and within the mind. Um, so, how do we do this? Right? So, the easiest way, right? The easiest way to do this is to limit what we are exposed to. Um, so we can't, obviously, we don't want to become hermits, right? But that would be the easiest way to practice this would be to go, live in a cave somewhere and have nobody come bother you. But we aren't going to do that, right? But we can limit some of that. We can reduce the level of noise. And what that does is it gives you a chance to experience that inner voice, the inner world. A lot of people don't feel comfortable with that idea. They think uh, erroneously, right? They believe that there's something inherently perhaps broken or wrong with them, so they're afraid. They leave the noise running all the time. They're constantly trying to be distracted because they don't want to see what's within. And this is an error, right? That we sometimes make out of fear and just fear of the unknown, right? We don't know what it will be like, but we dread it. We think, oh, it's going to be terrible. The truth is, everybody has that. Everybody has that kind of fear that something's in there that's not great. But if we can breathe and work through these things, um, we notice, and it's like anything else in your life that you dread. You look at it, it's probably not nearly as bad as you imagined it would be. Um, and you can do it bit by bit, right? Just do a little bit. Give yourself some peace and quiet and see how that goes. If negative thoughts arise, release them. Think of other things, right? I mean, it sounds very simple and kind of ridiculous to say that, but literally visualizing positive things, beautiful things, can change the state of your mind. Um, Nobody thinks it's that easy, but sometimes it really is that easy. Now, it may not last. You're going to have to keep doing it, but it becomes a habit. Just like negative thinking is a habit, positive thinking is a habit. Just like dwelling on negative thoughts is a habit, pushing them out and dwelling on the positive thoughts is another habit. So we want to move in that direction. And again, trying to have a little space of peace, working on a little practice of breathing, letting your thoughts sort of turn to something peaceful, something beautiful. Um, this helps. It helps us kind of um, steady the mind, steady our internal structure, which is so important, especially in these are important times for that, where there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of information, a lot of things that you could get very upset about. Um, the problem is getting upset about things doesn't change them, and it doesn't. It's not a position of strength or power to get things done. All it is upset. So rather than allow yourself to be distressed, we want to be able to move positively, make good choices, make choices and decisions based on the facts and the knowledge that we have rather than the fear that we're holding. So Pratyahara is our gateway to that internal structure. Um, and there's nothing wrong with, if you feel like this is something that you need to work on, there's nothing wrong with limiting what you are exposed to, right? I think of, I know my dad was one of these people that would watch that, Fox News or the talk radio. They listened to it all the time. And again, it becomes, that's that's where you think you're at. That's where you think everyone is at. We tend to think what we see as reality is everyone's reality. So if you are fed a constant diet of fear, anxiety, unhappiness, um, you are going to believe that is the world. Right? So um, pick and choose what you want to be exposed to. Stay informed. We need to stay informed, but find the way that is least upsetting to you, right? That is the most easy for you to handle in whatever state you feel that you're in at this point. Um, and don't be afraid to limit it if you need to. Um, I know when my kids were young, I never had the news on. I never had any of that stuff because um, there wasn't any need. If I figured if anything important was happening, someone would let me know. I mean, I would know soon enough. Um, so when my husband called me when the planes hit the towers in New York and said, oh my God, are you watching TV? And I'm like, yeah, but SpongeBob is on. What's the problem? Um, and he told me, and but I didn't switch the channel because again, what's the point of that? Why would I need to expose myself, expose my children to um, that when I'm going to get the information about it? All I can do and all everyone can do is sort of suffer. It's done. So when things are done, we can be informed, we can know about them, but we don't need to kind of relive it over and over, right? Um, so pick and choose what you want to be exposed to, how much you want to be exposed to. Feel free to change that if you find it's not working for you. Um, Pratyahara, that's it's a process, and you you may find that you'll change your um, you know as time goes by, you may find that you can be exposed to more and not take it so personally, not allow it to disturb you. And that's our goal. Our goal is to be able to um, kind of navigate through the world on a very even keel. So we aren't knocked down by what's going on, because nothing's going to stop what's going on, right? There's always going to be things that are going to be tough and hard to get through. Um, our job is to become resilient and able to get through that. So, Pratyahara, that's how we start. Um, so, you may notice too that a lot of the things that we're talking about with this Ashtanga 8-limb path is things we've already spoken about, right? But this is sort of a more um, organized way to look at it, and how it all sort of fits together. Because it does, it sort of fits in a progression. Okay, so back to asana now. So breathe, relax. Notice what's happening with the body, the breath. Notice anywhere you might have tension. Maybe the jaw or the forehead, shoulders. One more breath here. And then chin down toward the chest. Relax here. Then we're moving the head around. Big circle. One way and then the other. Back to center. Take a breath, lean forward. And then move around. One way and the other. Back up to your seat, arms wide. Deep breath in, and then exhale, hands together. Inhale wide. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. I was moving a lot of wood yesterday, and my shoulders are not feeling great today. Inhale, lift. And then arms down by your side. Inhale, lift. And lower. Lift. And lower. Let's lift the shoulders, roll back. And forward. Left hand on right knee, right arm behind. Sit up tall, take a twist. Back to center and moving the other way. Back to center. Tabletop. And let's take a few sets of cat-cow here. Inhale, we're lowering the belly, lift the head. Exhale, lifting up the body. Moving with the breath, inhales and exhales. Finish up, and then we're going to sit back on the heels. Child's pose. Back to tabletop, then downward dog. Bend the knees a little. Walk it out. Stepping the feet up. rising slowly. Standing tall in your mountain. Breath in and out. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, stepping back with the right. Set the knee down, arms overhead. Hands to the mat. Stepping back, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Lower down. On an inhale, we're going to lift up either just head and chest, or you can come all the way up, upward dog. And then moving back to downward dog. Take a breath. Then step the right foot up. Left knee drops down, arms overhead. Hands down to the mat. Step the back foot up and fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Lifting on the inhale. Back to mountain. Take a breath in and out. Inhale, lift arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, we're stepping back with the left. Set your knee down, arms overhead. Hands to the mat, stepping back, downward dog. Inhale, high plank, and lower. Inhale, lifting head and chest, or all the way to upward dog. Moving back to downward dog. One more breath. Step the left foot up. Right knee down, arms overhead. And hands to the mat. Back foot steps up. Fold forward. Inhale, lift to flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, arms lift. Back to mountain. Take a breath. Deep inhale and exhale. And let's do some balance. So we're going to stand on the left to start for tree. So you might have heel to the ankle, maybe up higher. Knee rotates out to the side. If you fall out or set the foot down, just come on back up. Focus on the breath. Steady the gaze. And set the foot down. Switch sides. So we're standing on the right, bringing in the left. And set it back down. Bicycle legs. And then from mountain, we're just going to lift up the right knee. So you might be right here. You could also take a different version if you want to grab the knee or grab the foot. You could try catch the foot. So we've got the foot with the left hand. Bringing it in. Right hand lifts. I don't know why I tried that today. I don't feel very balanced. But yeah, that's a nice one for hip flexibility if you're trying to work on that. Right, and of course not, trying to force anything, just going as far as you feel everything's okay. And then we're going to switch. Maybe we have the knee lifted. And then whatever version you want, you could try this if you want. See, my head is being cut off. That's okay. And then set everything back down, bicycle legs. We're going to step out into Warrior 3. So we'll have hands together. Make sure you've got a little room in front of you. We're going to step out with the left, shifting the weight onto the left side here. We're lifting and breathe. Holding that as long as you want. You can, steady yourself with the wall if you need. Keep breathing. And then set the foot down. Hands to center, take a breath. And then stepping out right. See how this side holds up. And then when you're ready, just set the foot back down. Bicycle legs. Come on back, top of the mat. Arms overhead, deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. And then stepping back, downward dog. Inhale, high plank. Then lower down. Head turns right. Arms by the side. Take a few breaths. Bring the head back to center. We're going to have arms in front, One forearm over top of the other. Set the forehead down. And then we're going to lift the arms, the head and chest, everything together, and then the legs. Lower down, head turns left, arms by your side. Head back to center. We're going to lift up head and chest, lift the arms, lift the legs. And lower down. Just keep the head to center. And rest it on the hands. Take a few breaths. Moving back up. Tabletop, child's pose. Tabletop, downward dog. Walk the feet up. Sitting on the mat then. Soles of the feet together. Deep breath in. Lean forward. Come on back up. Let's lift the knees. We'll catch a hold of the toes. Leaning back a little so we feel balanced. And then you could extend halfway or further. And bend the knees. Set the feet back down. Both legs out in front. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Make your way back up. And then let's just sit here. We've got hands by your side, and we're going to move the feet. So we're pointing the toes. Again, you want to, instead of curling the toes, we're pressing with the balls of the feet forward. And then pulling the feet back toward you. And going just between those two things. Right? And if you feel like your feet are kind of cramping up, just go gently with it. Don't go too far. We're just flexing and extending. And then bend the knees, soles of the feet to the mat. Make sure you've got room. Lower down. Take a few breaths. Get comfortable. And then we're going to bring the right leg, right ankle on top of the left leg. Supine pigeon, whatever form you take with this. And then set that foot down. We're going to keep the ankle on top of the left knee, goalpost arms or out to a T, and then lowering that left knee over. The right foot is moving down toward the floor. Coming back up. Let's switch sides. So now we've got left ankle on the right knee and whatever we do here. Set the foot down. We're going to keep the left ankle on top of the knee. And we're moving the same way, just going to the right now. Moving back up. Let's set both feet down to the mat. And we're going to walk the feet out to the edges of the mat and just let the knees bump together. Take a few breaths. And then we're going to bring the right knee in toward the chest. Let's interlace the fingers behind the thigh. And then if you want, you can work to kind of straighten that right leg. Depending how tight, pardon me, the hamstrings are, you may not get it all the way straight. And just see how it is today. And then bend the knee, hug it in again, and then we're going to set it down. Switch sides. So just bringing that leg in close to the body. And then doing whatever extension works for you today. And bend the knee again, hug that leg in. And then extend both legs long. Take a few breaths. Setting up for your bridge. Knees are bent, heels back close to the body. Feet are about hip width apart. Hands by your side. Press down, hands and feet, lifting up the hips. Lowering back down. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. Maybe bring the hands on the belly. Feel that rise and fall. And then bring the knees together. Bring them into the chest, rock a little bit side to side. Extend the legs. And when you're ready, lowering down. However you want to get there. And finding just a comfortable place to be on your mat for Shavasana. So Shavasana is a great time to practice a little Pratyahara, right? We're withdrawing our senses inward. So we're focusing on the body and the breath. You may be aware of the sounds in the room, but they aren't affecting you, right? You are kind of in that middle space between active engagement and oblivion, right? So we're not asleep, but we're not 100% engaged in what's going on. We have withdrawn our senses. So another technique that we can use with Pratyahara is this idea of observing, being the observer. I find this very helpful in situations where I might be starting to feel angry or upset. Instead of being fully engaged in that sensation, I step back and observe, well, what's happening here? What is happening in my body now? What is this outside stimulus doing to me internally? And when we can observe, we've naturally set a little space between us and that sensation, that activity that's going on. So we are not our feelings. We are not our thoughts. Those things are generated as a result of what's happening around us. And they are unique, right? Each of us have our own um, ways of feeling based on all kinds of different things. But they aren't who we are. We are spirit. We are that spark of the divine. So when we bring our attention there, the other things naturally kind of fade away. They become less important, less urgent. And when you can rest in that spirit, the other things don't disturb you as much. It's easier to give them their proper attention instead of all of our attention. Be in the world, but not of the world. You are of spirit. When you're ready, then moving fingers and toes, hands and feet. Stretching a bit if you want to, and then making your way up to a seat. We'll bring hands together. Deep breath in and out. Thank you for making time this morning for yoga and for sharing it with me. I hope you have a really nice day. Namaste. Thank you. Thank everyone for coming to class. So I was thinking, it's funny because I'm doing class every day now, right? And so you're going to see me at all stages, right? Some days really good, some days pretty tight. That's the thing about yoga every day, or 6 days a week. So we were talking about Ashtanga yoga, right? It's you need to, and that's one of the things that worries me a little about the Ashtanga practice per se, is because it's the same every day. It's the same set of poses every day. And I think people often push themselves to do exactly the same thing every day, regardless of what they may be doing outside of life, outside of the yoga studio. Thank you, Dora. And so we always want to tailor our practice to what's going on, right? So if you're having a hard day, if you had a hard day the day before, maybe you want a lighter practice. That's what we want to do. We want to do something appropriate to the body. So you're going to see, again, because I don't really know what's going on with you guys. I have no, one of the things about teaching is you try to kind of figure out what's going on, the energy in the room, and what people might need that day. You can't really do that in this format. I'm pretty good, but I don't think I can reach through the screen and and figure out what's going on with each and every one of you. So you're going to probably see a lot of what's going on with me. So on some days, we're going to maybe do a little less. Some days, maybe more. We'll just see. Cooling down or heating up, that's another thing, right? The weather can play a factor in what you need, what your body might need. So you're pretty much going to get what I need, and we'll see how that works for you. All right. So I'll be back tomorrow, and I hope you have a good day.